This is lesson number 3. And instead of completing all of the liner that I said I was going to do in lesson number 2, I decided to go ahead and just do a quick lesson here. So I'm warming this up so that it dries quickly. And we're going to do something a little different so I can show you a good technique. It's called the layering technique. And I didn't want to create all of the lines yet, just some of them, like for the cross and the ground there. So the rest of them I'm going to leave alone for now. And that should be enough to dry off the heavy paint that I've laid down. So we are going to turn that off. And you can always have one of these. You can buy them at Home Depot. It's just it's a basic heater. So yeah, you can see it's totally dry. All right, so I'm going to use this. This is I've done this with many other works. This is ultramarine, and it's a real liquidy material, and it's meant to be used over the general area. So it's like for big areas. And I wanted to use kind of a small brush. This is a semi-small brush. I have many different types of brushes here that we could use, but this one here is going to be pretty much the size we want. We got bigger ones and smaller ones here. This is too big. This is way too big. This one I might use for detail, and of course this is extra detail, but this is the one that I picked initially. So what I'm going to do is, it's good to pour this out into a glass. You don't want to pour it into a plastic container. It will eat right through it. This is highly volatile. All these materials are volatile. They're designed for painting on plastic. Okay? So you will want to not here. This is it right here, poured up. And I'm going to align it again, although this isn't so important to align, but I'm going to show you this cool technique. I've got 2 sizes here, and we're going to dip this in. Unfortunately, this little device wants to follow my eyes instead of following my hands. So we're going to hope that it pays attention to where I'm at here. And what I'm going to show you is we're creating, it's not just color, but we're creating a glass-like effect. So this looks like glass when it's done. And this is why, now here I am following the lines, as you can see. And that's why I did a few of these, so you can see both techniques. This is following, and this is a broken edge here, but that's going to be covered up with a frame anyway. So notice how I do this. I am actually creating texture. Texture is important because glass has texture. So you want to have texture. And this is ultramarine. It's darker, so I thought I'd use it here for the ground and everything. But you know what? We're basically going to use these colors, or this initial layer, everywhere. I'm just showing that you do want to have texture, so you want to have a certain direction to it. You don't want to just go and paint it all flat. It won't have, you'll lose its purpose. You're creating texture. So I'm leaving that one the way it is because I'm going to use a little different color there. We're going to have this texture a little different here. We're going to go, actually I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go this way with this one. This is like a hill. So I'm going to go this way. And creating a little different. This one was going almost all that way. So this is kind of creating like a separate piece of glass. And it is creating a texture for the next layer. And see, we've got to let this dry. That's why I went ahead and decided to go ahead and do this next class immediately after that other one. I blew dry. I dried this other layer. Now see, this layer, I'm making it a little different than this other layer. I'm getting it a little bit in kind of like terrain looking. All right. So that is the ultramarine. Now I do have another color here, and this is dark yellow. Dark yellow. That's different. Whole different color. And by the way, this one is light blue. So we have 3 different colors here. And I don't mind, well, I think I'm going to use this. You might as well go ahead and use this for all the areas you think you're going to need it for. And so I'm going to go ahead and use it up here at the top. Now it doesn't really matter that much, because notice it doesn't really give that much color anyway. And so it's no big deal. I might also use it for the wood, and we're going to go ahead and use it for the wood. Now, in the case of the wood, by the way, you don't have to use a brush. This is one technique that I teach everybody, is not to use the brush. And this is just the first layer, so we're going to use the brush here. See, that is not really going to show up in the end, that little defect there. And I went off a little bit there. That doesn't matter. Like I said, this first layer, it's pretty clear. You're just creating kind of a glass effect, as if we were really using glass here. And so you want to create some weird effects. Like you can see that these brush strokes are a little bit odd, because wood has knots in it. Wood is never like sky or even the ground. It's different. So we're creating a wood effect here. And that's going to be it, right like that. That's all we're doing, all right? So that's the wood. Now, I'm going to go ahead, frankly, I think we should go ahead and pour the ultramarine back so that we don't have it drying up. This stuff, like I said, is very volatile. And so I'm going to use the same glass for both. And here we go. Come on, little guy, turn over here towards me. There you go. So, this is yellow. We're going to do the yellow next. And you might want to shake these. They can be sitting around for quite a while, and the colors, being it's a volatile material, it can settle a little bit to the bottom. I'm sure it's got the high volatility chemical that's a little separate from the colored part. And so I didn't pre-open these because, like I said, this is another little container I have here. This one has a lot of, it's a special one because it's got pieces of the lead liner in there that you can use to create shadows. So I'm not going to use that for anything right now. But as you can see, these can be hard. It tells you to to push on it and open it, and that should open it, but I already did that. Wow, so yeah, it's strange. Huh. Oh yeah, I can hear it. It's because it has some of the dried paint there. You can see it. By the way, any dried paint, any of this stuff can be used and put it in a little container like that, and you can use it to create some neat effects later. So So we're going to end up mixing a little bit of blue with yellow, but that's okay, because we're not that picky. Now I will change the brush to begin with, and so we're going to use this here. This is just for contrast. We want this to be dark. This is, after all, part of the shadow, and so, but that's all right. We're going to just do it that way. This is the main yellow area here, and it's like a ray of light. This is why I picked a small brush, because I have to get a little bit more detail here. And we may go over twice with the yellow as we go along here, because we want it to be a little bit darker than yellow. Has a tendency to just not show up much, so I'll want to put 2 layers. And we're going to make this yellow too here. And by the way, we will put some yellow up here, so I don't mind. This is the reason why this is yellow, is because I'm going to put blue. It's going to turn it into kind of a green. And so we're going to have blue and yellow mixed there. Now, don't worry about those red lines. Those aren't going to show up, remember, because now the real red line that I'm using is the outer one. That's other line was a mistake, but as I said, you know, these mistakes, you just have to remember where the mistakes are so it doesn't interrupt with your design. So, okay, that's the yellow there, and there's going to be, I like to keep a little bit of symmetry. It is not going to be 100% symmetrical. You'll see later. The symmetry is going to get off on purpose, because we don't want this to be a boring design. And so, okay, so we've done that. This is the yellow. Now, we're going to pour this back, and I'm going to leave a little bit of the yellow in here so that we get some green. And we're going to use the green there it is. You can see it now. Okay, so this is what we've done so far. Okay, so now I'm going to put some of the light blue in here mixed in with a little bit of the yellow, and it's going to create a kind of a green effect. And again, all of these are so hard to open. I wish they could design a little bit easier way. This one has hardly been used. In fact, I think this is brand new. And you can see even the new ones. This one is not doesn't have any dried paint. So I tell you what, because we want to do this fairly fast, I'm going to go ahead and use this ultramarine blue here instead of going to that. This one's already been opened, so it's going to be easier to use. We're going to create the green by using this, which is not, it's the same thing. In fact, it might be better. I'm trying to get a green effect over here. Now you say, boy, that doesn't look like green. Well, I actually have greens. You'll see that this is greenish, and we will be adding, I'm going to put some green over this. See, we're creating different colors, so we don't mind putting layer over layer even before it dries, because we're trying to create contrast. We don't want, these two colors were identical, so what's the purpose? So we want to create a little differentiation. So that's why we're gonna, right here you can see I'm putting this down. Yeah. All right, see, this is gonna be the green. I went over this, which was already that color, and so that's creating a little bit of contrast. So now we have a bunch of different colors. Now, where else are we going to use green? Well, we're going to use it actually up here. You're wondering, what are you doing? Why is the sky green? Well, it's not what you think. In other words, right now I'm more interested in creating movement and different weird looks and stuff. So it's not like this is just flat. We're trying to create depth. So this is what this is going to do. This is going to help create some depth, like clouds. All right, and I don't mind using some of this over here because we're going to put more layers on this. And again, this is here just to create depth. And now you're going to notice something. I'm going to use almost every color on the cross. Because, you know, when you mix a lot of colors, guess what you get? You get brown. Yeah, it's interesting. But brown is a combination of yellow, blue, red. And so we don't mind getting a bunch of this color on the cross too. The cross is going to be very opaque. I mean, it's got to be. Cross is not, it's wood, so it's got to be opaque. So that's what we're going to do with the cross, and you'll see that it's right now. It's, you know, it's looking pretty primitive. We don't care right now. This is the way it's supposed to look. And see, now these colors are all blended, so we don't want to put this back in the bottle. And so I'm going to go over these areas again. I am really trying to create opaqueness as much as I can. And I don't care if it takes multiple layers. Right now it's the same color. I don't care. So I will go ahead and put layer over layer. Notice I put it down, and then, because this dries pretty quick. It's not as slow drying as you might think. So I am going to create radiating lines now. It's another layer, because this is like radiating light here, but it's going to be. So now we have multiple layers, and these two are the same. See, so I am going to actually make this one like this one, and that you want to create contrast. You don't want everything to be the same. Good. So now you can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is it here. These are the basic colors. Now these others are going to be red and some other colors. And right now, the red is going to be these two colors here and those two colors there. So I do have one color here. I was going to make it this blue. And what I'll do is I'll come back and show you all this after I get it done, and that'll be the next film. So, like I said, I have to stop it on the screen.